Guys, your nudges to me are going crazy recently. Like yesterday, I had a migraine. I had physical symptoms that were so intense from the amount of downloads that are happening right now with the collective. There's just this crazy wave, and my human self cannot keep up fast enough with an outlet. So it kind of manifests in physical symptoms for me sometimes. It's really hard to explain, but sometimes in my experience with collective energy, it requires consistent outlets, consistent moving of that energy through me. And if I don't, I kind of pay for it. So in other words, I'm really trying to keep up here. I really am. So maybe there'll be more readings, maybe not. I guess you'll kind of like be able to see when there's heavy waves if I'm moving more quickly. So this is one of those really important, timely messages that I get out with urgency. There was a huge push for me this morning. I was going to take the weekend off, but nope, we must keep pushing. And some of you really need this now, and that's how this one feels today. It's very time sensitive, and I guess you'll just know if you need something, this one is for you. This message as a whole is regarding legacy. It's regarding purpose, soul path, which legacy is really the only reason we even work. It's really the only reason we try to make something of our lives in the first place. Is it's the energy that really matters. And what gets in the way of that is usually thinking that money or success is what matters. But really, it's your legacy that stays around when you pass. And Spirit's really pushing onto me that a lot of you feel that desire to have your creation live past your physical being. You're feeling that push to build something, to create something, to do something more. But there might be that confusion between legacy and success that is kind of getting in the way, that wants to be clarified through this message, perhaps. I just really see that like the energy of legacy versus success is an incorrect chase that delays legacy, that delays the important thing. It's one of those like distortions that we are unfortunately taught that we have to remember and we have to dissolve through our ascension. One of the things that I kind of keep being shown here is that you will just know, like if you have doubts that this reading is yours, probably just leave. This isn't for you. I don't mean that rudely. I hope you don't take it that way. It's just if you're uncertain, if you're in the right spot, if you don't really think about legacy, you don't really think about building something, this isn't for you. This is for someone who knows inside they are meant for this legacy. They have this enormous pressure to build something, and maybe they don't actually build the thing. They don't know where to start. But just having the pressure is enough to know that this is your message. It could be that you just know you're meant to create for others. You just haven't laid the bricks yet, but it's inside of you. You're not doubting that it's there. It's kind of, interesting message already, but it's kind of like showing me here to not keep going on with the details about who this is for, because really, if you feel uncertain, this won't be your message. And something in you really just needs to know. And I'm not supposed to say that much more. Okay. So it's trying to already push people on the fence away, I see here, because you might not be a legacy builder, and that's totally fine. That doesn't mean you're not going to do amazing things. That doesn't mean you're not going to live a great life. It's just this message is drawing a very clear distinction. There's a line here. If you are uncertain, if you are meant to do something more, I'm sorry, this isn't your reading. You'll just know. And I'm really not sure how you'll just know. Maybe it's just a feeling you'll get from my words today. Maybe it's that you've always felt that pressure to do something more. You don't know what it is. But again, if you have doubts that you are meant to do something, meant to create a legacy, meant to create, then this isn't your message. And I am talking to those specifically that have an inner knowing that they are meant for more. For my lovers of the weird, my lovers of the odd, whenever I say something odd came through, you're like, yay, you're going to love this reading. If you don't like odd and you're here just by whim or randomness, welcome to the channel. I embrace the weird. I embrace the odd. So the first thing coming through is super specific. It's being presented to me as a scenario where you are placed in a very specific role, and it's about the exchange of selling things, the process of like when you go on marketplace and you're selling something used. Used things are very important because it's depreciated in value in some regard in the scenario I'm being shown here. You are the seller. You are the one that is selling the used or depreciated item, and there's a buyer party that's present in this scenario. And what's interesting here is this may be literal. You may be like literally trying to sell used items, or you have a keen ability to do so, or you have it on your list to do this thing, and that's why it's coming up here. So it could be very specific in the literal sense for some of you, but the symbolism here is very, very powerful. It has a heavy energy, and it's this whole situation of depreciating value, and that's what's kind of being highlighted for me. Is the energy that's important here is the dehumanizing factor of the selling that's coming through the strongest. So the buyer in this scenario doesn't value you and only cares about the item of interest. And you'll notice that is something that's super common with selling used items, is like they don't message you back. They just fall off. They kind of treat you without any humanity for some reason in this circumstance. And we all know that. We've all experienced what it is to sell a used item and people treating you like you're not a person. You're just kind of like this thing in front of what they want. But how it's relating to your purpose and your legacy is very important. You may soon experience what looks like a friction point in the pursuit of your legacy that's coming through in this scenario. This looks like in your creation process, in your building process, you might deal with what looks like a dehumanizing experience that comes from proposing and giving your gift of creation to those interested in buying it or getting it, receiving it. The process of creation and doing something different from the norm, from the conventional work a 9-to-5 for someone else, you will usually experience a pushback or an inability from others to see the value of that new thing. In other words, the challenge you will inevitably face in your path, in your soul path of creating something new, is in order to leave an imprint on the world, in order to leave a legacy of yourself, the world will respond to push you down in some way, to dehumanize the value. And that's just inevitable. That's an inevitable fact of leaving a legacy on the world. And we could see that through like great builders or people who do have a legacy right now, is they didn't just go from 0 to 100 one day, right? Like they got a lot of rejection. And so there's a message here to expect that and to not take that as a reflection of your creation. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're going to do, whatever you want to do, it's just recognize with this message is it's going to be a very similar dehumanizing experience to a marketplace sale. It's going to strip you of your humanity, or it's at least going to try to in the process of leaving a legacy and the process of building. And it's really important you hear this today, because that might discourage you in a way that stops your path, and spirit wants you to keep going. People are not going to respond well to you creating a new thing. It's going to be an inevitable fact that they will try to dehumanize you to just get the object of your creation. And it's kind of important, I think, for this first half of this message is that you have that expectation and not take it as a personal result of your creation. Like what you're building is not that it doesn't have value, it's that people will just respond that way. You will inevitably have marketplace vibes. You will be treated as if you are not valuable and it's just the thing you are providing that matters. And the first message here is to expect that, but don't accept it. And be able to push through to create is to not accept that dehumanizing behavior. So this is super specific. Like if someone doesn't respond and they fall off like a marketplace exchange, like say, for example, you're selling a used item and someone just completely falls off. You give them your address and then they die. They ghost you. You're not going to go back to that person and say, wait, come back. No, you're going to ignore them. And the same is true here for whatever you're going to build. That same energy applies. Do not sell. Do not give whatever it is you're creating to those who undervalue you personally and don't see the person behind the creation. It is very much important that in order to create legacy, in order to create the real mission behind your soul, not just success and wealth, you must sell your creation with your humanity. They must coexist together. And that's a huge part of this reading, is not a lot of people recognize that. They think to just push out the product, to just get sales. It doesn't matter if they treat me like a nobody, like I'm not a part of this. It's just my thing I'm creating. No, that doesn't actually create legacy here. That won't actually get you to the right path, the right energy recognition. I think an example here is good too. So for example, if you're a musician and you're creating a viral sound, because that's how musicians get noticed today in an online world, the real legacy is built through you intertwining your humanity, your personal story with that sound, rather than just pumping out viral pieces after that. So after you get traction, after you create a piece of yourself, the real message here is to sell your humanity alongside of that somehow, not to remove it, because you will be tempted to just keep pumping out creation, to just be a machine that separates yourself from your art, from your creation. And the message here is very, very specific. It is saying, no, they must coexist together to leave a legacy. It is super important that you specifically hear that. So the transit cards that I pulled for today's reading are revealing what looks like something really important about the space you're in right now. You might be in this really delicate space of restlessness about your purpose and your legacy overall. You may really want and desire to break the mold here, not just for success conventionally. I see you wanting to fill it with purpose. And what's really important is you don't want to wake up every day and grind for something that isn't unique to you, that isn't your essence. And you're experiencing that friction in your current reality right now. I see you kind of emotionally going back and forth at this time about it, like building something specific, but also building something stable, playing the game of capitalism, getting that paycheck is still important, but you're trying to find the balance. And the restlessness here is showing me a shift happened recently for you, where you were in this stillness period, you were in this downshift space that felt kind of empty, and you didn't have a lot of momentum there. And now that you've shifted, the restlessness is coming because you turned on mentally, but you're still in that emotional still space. Like that hasn't caught up to your mental shift. You're restless. You want to move, but something is still stuck here. And that's because that other part of you hasn't caught up yet. It's like the energy kind of just has nowhere to go. You've lit up something inside, and it's stirring something within you. It's causing a lot of undercurrent and noise. And I kind of see a lot of disorientation as a result of this, just because you're split into two right now. The current space is so delicate because you shifted into what looks like a new movement type of space, but your body has not caught up to that. It is still in that stillness, still in that emotional rest place, but you're mentally turned on. And so this seems like a really crucial liminal space that I point out for you today, so you recognize what's actually happening. You are divinely, or soon to be divinely, flipped on for a purpose, but you're not going anywhere for a reason here. And this is to solidify a direction in an emotional way. That emotional part of you that's still in that stillness space has not caught up yet for a very important reason. That part of you needs to lay the emotional bricks down first before catching up to that mental noise that movement energy. And it's important because if that emotional side of you moves too quickly and doesn't feel into the path first, you could move into the wrong direction. So the reason you feel so split, so torn right now is because they need to work together. And so your mental on space is important. That stimulation is important. It's what moves you forward. It's divinely placed to say, okay, it's time. But now your emotional side, instead of moving quickly like your mental side wants, it's saying, no, we need to feel into the path that matters to us. We need to not move too quickly. We need to lay the emotional bricks down first. And I'm going to take my time with that so we don't move in the wrong direction. So the important thing that you know about right now is it is going to feel disorienting for a little bit in this liminal space. And it's confusing, and it feels torn, and it feels empty, and it feels wrong. And it's just because there's two sides of you trying to work together at this point about the next step. So it's very positive in terms of like that you're moving forward. It's just you're catching up with the new shift that's within you. And it's important you know why. And once that groundwork is laid, I kind of see this being something where the action aligns with your emotions and you can begin to move forward in a aligned and coherent direction for yourself. And so I think the main message here today is when you start moving, or if you've already done so, the next part is to really reject all the spaces that don't coexist your creation with your personal essence. And there might be a huge desire to remove yourself upcoming because you are destined for this path of legacy. You are destined for this path of creating for your highest good. Your soul journey is not going to be easy. So there's going to be a desire to produce without being connected to it, with removing your personal essence. And I'm here to tell you that that might be a trap. It might be more ran by conditioning and societal influence than ran by your soul. And that will be a huge challenge point moving forward as you're on this path of creating this legacy that I see for you here. So there's a challenge to not get caught up in the influence to produce without your soul tied to that production, without your humanity integrated. And that's the conditioning. That's the societal noise, the societal conditioning that you're meant to dissolve as you align to your highest frequency, your highest timeline. It's thinking that to create, we have to produce quickly. We have to remove ourselves and push it out. And that is conditioning. So it's a really strong message here. It's really to remember that your legacy is your humanity. And it's the part of you that shows your creation does not come without you attached to it. It is a part of you. That is the part that actually matters. And to not sell it to those who just want the creation without the human part of you. In other words, really, your creation is you. They come with each other. They are a package deal. People want the musician that is attached to the music, and people who don't want that don't want it for the right reasons, and you won't leave a legacy on that path. They want the writer that's attached to the writings, and you may feel inclined to remove yourself through conditioning, through our societal pressures, through our societal noises, but your soul will never be satisfied or fulfilled until you are a part of your creation fully. And that's how you truly, truly align with the frequency of leaving a legacy. So it's really important here that whoever I'm talking to, whoever stayed, whoever this specific message was for, is you are specifically here to remember why you're here and your mission. Leaving a legacy is very important for your soul path specifically. Your path here is to create, and to remember not to create with removing yourself, your essence. Yourself and your essence need to be embodied within it. That is the most important piece of your creation. That is all that is. Welcome to our fourth Salt Talks. Wow, I can't believe how quickly we've stabilized this process. For those of you who have never seen a Salt Talks and are like, what the hell is this? This is a thing now. And it is just me talking, me yapping, me commenting back to you. Since I protect the energy so sacredly here, this is just my way for you to feel into me like I feel into you. I have two things that I kind of want to talk about today that have just been eating at me a little bit. The first one is so random, and it's really just me sharing an experience more than it is important in any way. Is I recently bought a different brand of dish soap. Okay. And this is just bear with me here. I know this is going to be weird. And I usually get soap that doesn't have harmful chemicals in it and is clean and all that hippie stuff, you know. But when this one came, it was so strong in essential oils. It was like the strongest smelling soap that I've ever smelled. And of course, I'm not going to use it because I don't want my dishes smelling like a fragrance store. I thought that was very odd, but it stuck with me. Like, weirdly, this experience is like had me going down a rabbit hole of why do they make dish soap with fragrances at all? Because all dish soaps have fragrances unless you specifically buy them to not. I can't stop thinking about why. Why is that? And the only reasoning I can think of, because I haven't Googled this, I don't really want to know the actual reason for some reason, is I think it's because people leave their dishes too long in the sink and they must end up smelling, or it's to create the illusion of cleanliness through artificial chemicals. Let me know your thoughts. Please let me know if this is going to live in your mind rent-free as well. I don't know why It's just something I can't stop thinking about. It just came into my brain and it won't leave now. I don't know. Okay, the second thing is something really funny happened to me recently, or has been happening to me very recently, and this is an important question you guys always ask me about, always bring up in comments, so it relates. People have been reaching out to me to buy my YouTube channel. I just think that is wild, and I wanted to share it because what an interesting thing is. I want to share it and talk about monetization as a channel, like in my thoughts about it, but I have to start with that because it is insane for so many reasons. I think they're doing this first and foremost because faceless YouTube channels are a thing now. There's a market for them, right? Like there's AI ran faceless channels. I think a lot of you thought I was AI for a while, but what I'm thinking from this is they must assume that it's so low effort, my channel, because it's faceless. And that couldn't be further from the truth. My channel is full-time plus hours of creating even simple content, even minimal content for you guys. And maybe they just think it's like an easy AI channel and that it could just be picked up and slapped around and recreated. I don't know. But I think it's crazy to me because how on earth would they be able to pick up this channel? It's either they aren't doing research, obviously, and they're just kind of casting nets to see who wants money and would just be easily bought out, or I really think they could become me somehow. Maybe tools are just getting that sophisticated, like they could maybe replicate my voice. I don't know, but I can't imagine money-hungry people coming into this channel and just ruining this space. Not even being able to channel, but also just like what a terrible, terrible dystopian world that would be. I'm also on that note noticing a lot of like decline in desire for AI slop. You guys have used that term. I had no idea what it was for a while, but AI slop is like AI dominated channels where they just kind of like quickly pump out content. But I am seeing a decrease in people's interest in that. There is like, it seems like people are being able to differentiate more between what is an AI and what is an actual person. And I think that early thing is now dying off a little bit from my understanding, but please let me know. I would love to hear from all of you, your thoughts. For me, and something that I've been sticking by since I started this channel, and this kind of like brings it into my thoughts about monetization, I still get a lot of emails, messages, pings about why I don't offer things that other readers do. Like I get a lot of emails asking for private readings, and I simply don't offer that because it feels wrong. I don't even think my readings can be individualized. I've never tried to do personal readings in that way. I've never charged anybody for anything. And so my calling here is so specific that I could just tell you now that I'm here for the collective, not the personal. That's how my messages come through. I think the general mission, the general purpose of me being here is to help people not feel alone and to feel very seen by someone, because in real life, the people I'm channeling for have had a harder time being seen because they're so different, they're so unique. And so my mission is very specific. It is targeted towards those people to let them know that they are seen with me. And this feels like such a delicate topic to talk about because I have nothing against readers who charge or provide those additional services. In fact, I kind of see some pros to it, especially doing like pro bono work for so long, is you have to put so much time into readings, and they're charging just like any other service would for their time. People's time is not free, especially in this economy. I think what's so interesting is the way in which I'm being pushed to do multiple income sources in this channel. It comes from all over the place, right? Like YouTube pushes me to do subscriptions, which is like they'll offer me bonuses and incentives since I've started to basically, it's like those extended videos you see or that separate content that you have to pay for. And the only thing I could see really coming from separating the collective reads into something like that is it would kind of group the energy for me into different containers. So if energy kind of gets more overwhelming in the future, that could be like something I try, but it still doesn't feel right to charge. And those subscription containers can only exist with being charged, but it's something I've thought about to experiment with, like maybe like $1 or something, just to see if it helps me like containerize the energy. I know that sounds silly. I probably won't do it, but I'm really just telling you guys my thoughts and like what goes on in my head about monetizing. Other than that, I get a lot of pushes personally for sponsored or affiliate linking. To me, I think that personally, it would just take a lot of time to do all that, and it would take away from the other ways in which I pay my bills or do work that pays bills. And it might be silly of me. I think sometimes I think, am I just making it harder than it needs to be by working 10 times harder than everybody else? But it's something that I've kind of struggled with internally, I think, since starting this channel, is worrying for and protecting the integrity of the space in a way that doesn't distort the message with all these moving parts that are constantly being pushed at me. And so sometimes I do think it is maybe a me problem. Like, I feel I can't combine money with what I'm called to do here. There's something about it for me, and I don't really know if I can firmly explain that yet. It's just, it hasn't felt right yet, so I haven't moved with anything yet. It's all still very new to me. The channel is only like 5 months old, maybe a little bit more. So I'm still seeing how things work, observing other readers online who maybe have the same mission or calling as me. I'm definitely not financially blessed or a trust fund baby. I don't just do this, and just this. I just kind of like, I guess, work harder and make it much more difficult for myself to keep them separated, to keep the integrity of the space. And I don't know how that will evolve in the future. I'm still learning. I'm still looking. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. That's kind of why I'm sharing this today. Of course, I always listen. I always take it very seriously. For me, I think the line is very clear. I could never charge for individual private readings for those who keep reaching out about that. But there's still some gray areas I'm working through. Like, I don't know how it will be to keep doing collective readings. I don't know how many waves of energy I'm going to constantly be feeling. And so, but I really don't see it happening anytime soon because I don't feel good about it still. It still doesn't feel like something I'm inclined to do. So in the future, there might be things that you might see from me from like a monetized standpoint. Like, I might write books, I might illustrate cards because I am an illustrator. I might create helpful free tools for you. I definitely see that in something that I'm called to do, but I'm personally really struggling with where the line is for monetization and human workload capabilities. So let me know all your thoughts. As you all know, keep leaving comments, keep leaving nudges. It helps me channel for you more efficiently. And of course, I always want to be able to do that. I love you guys so much. Cheers, friends.